had internet issues if you joined us in the previous stream. Before we get started this time, here's a request. Do let us know in the comment section if you're finding our stream absolutely flawless and you can hear the audio properly. We'd love to know your comments because once bitten, twice shy. So we don't want to continue having a intense discussion as we did the first time around, discussing and dissecting the Chennai captaincy and the RCB captaincy and who said what at what level, only to realize that whatever we had spoken of,
the stream
got lost in the stream. So let us know in the comment section, please, if the stream is fine. Until we get your approval or your thumbs up, okay, I'm already getting, Sukanda is telling me that yes, a lot of you are saying fine, smooth, perfect. A lot of you are saying that it's perfect, the live stream. So thank you very much. Please, this is, see what a lovely start to a live program, to a dugout. आप ऐसा करें, we will just take one piece. ये please ले जाएं.
Afterwards, please.
Thank you. ये लीजिए, Mr. Siddharth, लीजिए जल्दी से.
Yes.
Please give it to the other Siddharth.
Thank you. Oops.
And
It's okay.
छोटा piece we're gonna take. Please take.
Yes.
And please यहाँ पे आइए. Take one piece and please pass it back. हाँ, I'm on air.
You're on air, live.
So, for those of you who don't know why we're eating this cake, one of our beloved colleagues in Shazia who worked for our sister channel AajTak, it was our last day today. Siddharth has already given a big speech here of how much he'll miss working with Shazia.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was a very hard-working girl, and
Yes.
she's moving on to greener pastures. And in her honor, we have been treated to a nice chocolate cake. Very nice cake.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So yeah, that is such an auspicious start to our... See, everything happens for the good.
Yes.
That stream was bad, it was lagging, and maybe God said no. For anything when you start, मुंह मीठा करना चाहिए.
मुंह मीठा करना
Start it in a better way. And that's why.
ये मुंह मांगे मोर.
मुंह मांगे मोर.
Chocolate cake.
नहीं.
For a मुंह मांगी कीमत ना.
नहीं. With the waistline increasing by the day of all of us,
Yes.
it's better we stay away from these things. Siddharth does very well to hide every time he's eating. है ना? In front of us he doesn't eat, but
बाहर तो it depends. With the summer truly on, there is no mood anymore for that. For all the delicacies. Summer is the
you just
worst
had-
time. But one piece. One piece out of...
so one piece is more than enough. That must be some 300 calories. That will take about more than an hour to on the treadmill to burn.
That I can easily burn. I don't take this lift. I go up, down so many times.
But then imagine all those up downs will just burn one slice of cake. You will eat food after that also, na, through the day.
No. I don't eat in the night. I don't eat in the night. Why
Then
do I
I'll
eat in
catch
the
him
night?
eating that brownie.
That was months ago. See? Everybody now wants to Beti Ganga mein haath dhona. See?
Okay, let's get down to business now that our stream is fine. Till now it's fine, na? Because last time also we started and there were a few issues.
Yeah.
So apologies for that, but the downside to all of that is unfortunately we're not going to be revisiting the two questions or the two bits of news that we touched upon, whether it was to do with what happened with RCB yesterday or what will happen with CSK. But the CSK news we'll come back to a bit later. All of us are looking forward to that big game. As I said earlier, 2 out of the 3 most successful teams in the IPL will be competing today. Thala Dhoni will have the reins back. So all of that to look forward to. But that preview to that game coming up a little later.
Yep.
Before that, what we are going to be discussing is that big topic that you also see on your timeline, that is the race for the wicketkeeper batter. We've already had one discussion at the start of the IPL, but after that we've had KL Rahul absolutely on fire. He's played 2 stunning knocks. Remember, he missed the first 2 games, so wasn't a part of our previous wicketkeeper batter discussion. Now I have a feeling, I just have a gut feeling that he's going to feature prominently in our discussion today when we talk about wicketkeeper batters. So yeah, the question is, has KL Rahul already done enough that he is become a prime contender to return to India's T20 squad? Remember, Rahul was not part of the T20 squad. There have been 2 wicketkeeper batters, just a refresher course, that have been part of the India squad. You had Rishabh Pant at the T20 World Cup, and post that you've had Sanju Samson. Now, on occasions where we've tried to ask the selectors as to whether now Sanju has become the number 1 wicketkeeper batter. On those times we were told that no, because Rishabh was part of the ODI setup and all the ODI players were concentrating on the Champions Trophy. That is why he was not being considered, and that's why Sanju was. And so Sanju was your number 1 wicketkeeper batter. Now that Champions Trophy is also done, in which Rishabh Pant didn't get a chance to play, KL Rahul played. And now you have a straight shootout. There are many contenders. There is Rishabh Pant, there is Sanju Samson, there is a KL Rahul, there was a Jitesh Sharma who was your, remember, T20 wicketkeeper batter before Sanju Samson. There is this Dhruv Jurel who has now become a contender, remember, who's part of your test squad and has had a decent IPL so far. So there are 5 big contenders. I've not thought of these 5. My 2 colleagues in Siddharth G and Siddharth V decided that these are the 5 we'll focus on. I actually gave few other names. They vetoed it down, saying no, we're not going to look at any other. Let's keep it down to 5. But these are 5 genuine contenders, and at the moment, who knows? Number 1 could be anyone, backup could be anyone. So who's leading the race? First, answer the question, is KL back into contention? Because, at the start of this IPL, nobody was talking about KL as a T20 wicketkeeper guy. It was Rishabh Pant, it was Sanju Samson, some may have said Dhruv Jurel, but KL was, I don't think, really part of the conversation. Yeah. Has he firstly come firmly back into the race?
Tough one. This is a very tough question to answer.
Has he come into the race or not? I don't want to know whether he's leading or not.
Even there.
Okay.
It's a tough question to answer because it seems as if if you look at an F1 kind of a race, he was like a back marker. Now, suddenly he's put in such wonderful laps, he's now in that top 6 contention for the points.
Let me explain to those who do not understand F1, what is a back marker. A back marker is a car that is down a lap.
Yes.
So you are basically overlapping them. So some you are competing for the position. A back marker is somebody who you are crossing and you think they are racing for a position. They are not.
They are not.
He's actually putting him a lap down.
Lap down.
So
yes.
you are saying he was that far back?
He was.
Back marker he was.
Because what was the common criticism for KL Rahul when he played and opened for India in the T20 setup? India isn't playing a T20. India playing a T19. First over would always be a maiden. Whenever KL
T19.
played. T19. Okay. Now.
Actually, if you had Bumrah and KL both in the team, then they'd say India is playing
T15.
It was 4 overs, they will not bowl, 1 over, they will not bat.
Exactly. So see, this was the KL Rahul dynamic and the picture that everybody had in 2022. 2023, he played only the ODIs. He fell out of favor in the T20 scenario after India's exit in the semi-final. Ironically, Pant and Sanju both didn't step up in the T20s with the bat. Keeping wise, they did. But with the bat, they didn't step up. But they chose Rishabh with Rohit as the captain. Now it's Surya the captain. And he's going to be there until 2026. Under Surya, Sanju's gotten a long rope. I would say that KL Rahul has come ahead in the race, but only as a backup. Not in the India level.
No, you were saying back marker before this IPL. But my question was, has he come back into the conversation to be part of the squad?
Yes, he has. He has, because of the versatility with which he has contributed. Again, up, down, up, down. You bat him at 4, you bat him at 1, he still is contributing.
So we are not addressing the question whether he's leading or second or third or fourth, which we'll get to a little later.
Yeah.
First, I want to establish whether you even consider him or not, and for that, he will be under consideration.
He will be, because if you look at his other contenders, Sanju's had an okay time, Rishabh's had a horrible time. So that has paved the way for him to be back in the discussion yet again.
Okay. I don't think so. He'll be a part of the conversation between the BCCI selectors as of now. I remember, I think last night when we were discussing his innings during the post-match of that DC versus RCB game, I said that Sanju Samson is obviously the number one choice, but that's where, KL Rahul has actually pipped Rishabh Pant to be the backup wicketkeeper in India's T20I squad. That's what I said. But later I analysed and I thought that it's just 2 innings. One at Chepauk and now he's played at Chinnaswamy Stadium. Just on the basis of 2 innings, I don't think you would want to include KL Rahul in your conversations to be back in India's T20 squad. I think he has to do more than that. And when I say he has to do more than that, he has to be very consistent in the IPL. Strike rate is not going to be overrated this time around. He has to score at a consistent pace. He has to score at a brisk pace. And the way he treated someone like a Josh Hazelwood the other day at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, that's what he basically has to do on a consistent basis in this IPL, only to feature in the discussions between the BCCI selectors.
So when you say he's not even part of the discussion, you're not even looking at him in the squad even as a backup. For you, he does not exist.
Not
you
yet.
already have 2 names in your mind, which I'll get to later, who are ahead of him. Doesn't matter what. But your other point is that if he was to continue to have the IPL that he's having, then does he come into the discussion or he remains?
Absolutely.
He comes in.
Yeah.
He comes in. So you're saying these are early days, but you're not saying that he will not be looked at only.
This was his 3rd match this season because he missed the DC's tournament opener. If in the next 5 games he gets about 3 more 50s at a strike rate of about 160, 170, definitely he's going to be part of the discussion. Definitely.
So while I agree with him that of course these are early days and it's just for the sake of a discussion we are having, where or who anyone stands, but there is no immediate selection that's going to happen. So there is no pressure as such for the selectors to be thinking of anything at the moment. While I agree with that, but I don't agree with the fact that he's just had 2 good innings. And I'll tell you why. He's actually had, 2 good innings in terms of runs. But if you even remember the 3rd match he played, and he's only played 3, he came out all guns blazing. I think he got 15. He just came and just...
5.
Yeah, in 5 deliveries, came out and just attacked from the word go. What that is telling me, if you had any doubts about him not... looking at the strike rate or giving importance to the strike rate, or that quote that goes around on social media and does the round where you're saying strike rate is overrated, which he famously or infamously said at one point, that has now gone into the back burner. At least that's which is what I'm saying. It's not just 2 good innings, it's 3 good innings, and I'm not even saying whether he will continue to have a good IPL or not, but at least what I am seeing right now is that his intent has changed for sure. Yes, sure enough, he could have a disastrous IPL from here on where he doesn't get runs, and I don't think we can with any guarantee talk about any batter. I mean, Nicholas Pooran is in the form of his life. Who knows what happens from here on? I'm just saying that is a possibility. But at least if I was to make a calculated guess or an educated punt, I would say that his intent, I think he's made up his mind that will be the same. So that's a good sign for him, because that was that one criticism that came towards him. Secondly, if I'm looking at his innings, I don't think that, assuming that the team was to be picked in a week's time, I don't think he would have been out of the conversation. So to answer the question, he would be in the conversation. I'll tell you another thing which we are forgetting is the role that he played at the Champions Trophy. I agree it was a different format, but you also have to take a look at those. He was actually playing a cameo as in a short-term thing. If he was an opener and he spent playing 80 balls and then getting 100 runs, you said that, listen, this is a typical ODI knock and this is an ODI style of batting. We always knew he could do that. What has changed? But the position that he was batting in, more often than not, he had to do a T20 sort of an impact role in an ODI game. That's the role that he was given. And 2 of your biggest matches there, the semis and the finals, I think he performed that role. So again, I don't think you can ignore the impact that he had on those occasions to have done here. eventually when you pick a team, I don't think it'll be as simple as, okay, who got most run, who averages. No, I think we're going to see the impact. And as we were discussing yesterday, the knock that he played yesterday stood out as one of the best, if not the best. I thought it was the best, but without getting into a debate whether that was the best or not, even if you don't agree with my assessment that it was the best, it would consider it as one of the best knocks. So you're going to be looking at that as well. Like, who's going to be the guy who on an occasion can step in. And I'll tell you why. Even though his intent has come clear, remember, the one guy that you had in your T20 setup in a team full of dashers previously as well used to be a Virat Kohli, who could be the anchor on a given occasion. I'm not saying you needed it all the time, but on certain conditions, you're playing in Australia, you played that game versus Pakistan, or you saw those T20 games that happened in Australia, which were low scoring, like the finals, or in England, Sri Lanka. Similarly, even if you're playing the T20 World Cup at home, considering India gets a variety of pitches, some will be belters and some will be tricky in nature, so you need all sorts of variety of batters. And right now you have, I love the T20 team that India has. They are one of the best, and I'm actually loving this Suryakumar Yadav led team. But if you would need a guy like that also in your setup, who can bat at 150, 160 on a given occasion where his tough conditions can change gear, and if you have to fill that spot left vacant by Virat Kohli and all you're getting are Suryakumar Yadav's clones, then you would need somebody. So I think if you look at all of that, and I'm not saying he will get into the race of number 1 or 2, I'm not saying he becomes number 1, but even if you were to pick the team in a week's time, not even waiting for the IPL to get over, I think he'll be a serious contender, already in conversation. And I think that's a big change. Before the Champions Trophy, if you had asked me that T20 cricket, KL Rahul, I'd say, no boss, we have enough options. Let's look at them. Now, if I'm the selector also, I cannot ignore him, is my point. Yeah, I may pick him, I may not pick him, but I can't ignore him at the moment. I think that's the stage he's reached.
See, already KL Rahul, when you compare him with, okay, he was always consistent. But what was the one thing held against him? Low strike rate. Okay. 600 plus runs he had done for 4 consecutive editions of the IPL, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. He didn't have match winning knocks, but in the space of 2 months, if you look at it, KL Rahul has already played as many match winning knocks in both formats as compared to the previous 3-4 years also. His match winning contributions in the international arena would be sporadic. That's why people would not remember that, and they would cherry pick that, oh, KL Rahul can't perform under pressure. KL Rahul can't do this. He can't be a match winner. We had to be at pains to point out, boss, he's won you this game at number 5, batting in this position. KL Rahul, what has worked for him? Another thing. Intent is already there. He's already won you games more as compared to previous years. His other competitors are having a torrid time. There is only one reserved compartment. Again, I use a train analogy. I have to use it because that suits me perfectly. One seat only is remaining. The rest are all either waitlist, pooled quota, remote location, or regret. At this point in time, there have been certain cancellations in the reservations. KL has jumped up. He is reaching RAC1 status, where all but confirmed aa jayega. One is confirmed. We only want the RAC berth. One who can come into the thing. Others, if this continues in the IPL, even after 1 week, Pant's fortunes don't go up, Jitesh's fortunes don't go up, then KL Rahul will really surge among them. But with Pant and Sanju, there is an extra buffer of captaincy. Now, what are you going to do? Suppose Rishabh in 14 games just manages only 100 runs. But he's taken LSG to the title. What do you do then? No,
I don't think it still comes into the conversation because you're not looking for a captain. You already have a Suryakumar Yadav as a captain, so you're not looking at a captain.
No, he'll only be a wicketkeeper option.
Yeah, Pant, the captain, has been very impressive. I said it the other day, but right now, you're not looking for a captain in the T20 setup. You already have Sky, so you're looking at a impactful wicketkeeper batter, and unfortunately, in that race, he's lagging behind.
Yeah.
So he doesn't come into that one.
That's where I think the important part of the discussion comes in. You already have Suryakumar Yadav as your established designated captain. The vice captain who is designated for India in T20s and ODIs is Shubman Gill. He himself is struggling to make his place in the India's T20I 11. So assuming that he is one of the backups, just assuming, So you have your top order that's already stacked. Jaiswal is going to come in. There is Abhishek Sharma who has done well. You know, if you take a look at the performances against the England T20Is in January this year, then there is going to be Shubman Gill. So if, you know, I have to address your question that if India are to pick their T20 squad next week, I think from that perspective, I think KL Rahul could very well pick Sanju Samson also, because if there is a slot that is open, that is in the middle order, and KL, you know, might just fill that.
No, so that's the second question. So because you've started with that, and I thought we'll come to it, but since you've started to it, just in the race now, who's number one, who's number two, who's out of reservation, RAC, whatever?
I think there are two ways to look at it. That's what at least I think. If we go by the international form that a Sanju Samson has shown, you cannot really keep those 300s out of discussion. 2 against South Africa and 1 against Bangladesh. So going by that, even if, you know, he has been inconsistent, you would still want a Sanju Samson in your team, because you know that he is a match winner in T20 cricket, and he has proven that not just for his state side but also for Rajasthan Royals on multiple occasions, and he has done it for India now with the 300s that he had last year. And the second perspective is that your top order is already stacked. There's also a chance that Sanju Samson might not even feature in that India T20I 11, because you have multiple top order options. So if there is a spot that is vacant, it is in the middle order. And if anyone who is actually pushing his case for that middle order slot, it's none other than KL Rahul.
So who are your 2 wicket keepers if you're picking the team in a week's time?
KL Rahul number 1, Sanju Samson 2.
Okay, that's your...
In a week's time, yeah.
Okay.
In a week's time, Sanju remains 1, irrespective of what. Second is KL Rahul for me.
Okay.
Because Sanju will get a long rope, and even Suryakumar Yadav had said it in the past, we are going to give Sanju Samson a decent amount of game time. So he will be there. So for me, Sanju's second. Sanju's first, KL is second.
In all of this, there is no spot for Rishabh Pant.
No.
You don't need a captain. His batting form hasn't been any inspirational or sorts, so better to leave him out.
So, you know, it's interesting. If I had to pick right now the team, I'll also agree that Rishabh Pant doesn't make it into the 1 or 2. Now you got to go back as to what it... I'm not saying Suryakumar Yadav will do that, but why is it that Rishabh Pant came into contention to go to the T20 World Cup? Rohit Sharma had told him at the start of the IPL that I want you to be my number 3. By which he meant he needed a guy around whom the batting can revolve. Because remember, Virat was given a different role, that of an opener. And it was made very clear that he has to play an attacking sort of cricket, which he did, even at the risk of sacrificing his own runs. Many times you felt that, oh, he can take some time to get used to, but he was not doing that. Even though runs weren't coming, he was attacking. So was Rohit Sharma. So I think they had assigned these roles that both Virat and Rohit are going to attack no matter what. But at the end of the day, as I said, even though T20 cricket is bang bang and it's going in that direction, at the risk of repeating myself, I'm enjoying the way this Indian team is going. But somewhere they always realize that even in that madness of going crazy, you still need and I'm not saying you need a 100 strike rate batter. Those days are gone. But even a 150 strike rate batter is now seen as a guy around which the batting order can revolve. And even if you look at T20 teams now in the IPL, they're also doing it. They'll have these big attacking guys, but somewhere there you'll have a Sai Sudarshan also, whose role it is to ensure that he gets big runs and everyone else, even Shubman is playing that attacking cricket because Sai Sudarshan does that role. So that is the role that Rishabh Pant was assigned. Now the thing is, you'll have to see what the Indian team now thinks of. I don't know what the mindset of a Suryakumar Yadav team is. Maybe he does not want a guy like that. Maybe, and I think that's the impression we've got from the team, he does not want. If that's not the case, if Sky wants an out-and-out attacking team, 50 for 5 also doesn't matter, come and play, which is the indication we've got, then I think there is no place for Rishabh Pant right now. He gets runs or not gets run. The only way Rishabh Pant comes into conversation is if he goes on to have a decent IPL now with the bat, and then the captain does think that to fulfill that role or the gap left because of Virat Kohli, which even Rohit Sharma thought at one point, then I can get him. But for that, firstly, he needs to get runs in the remaining of the IPL. May not be at 200, but a 150, sort of a 140-50 strike rate, some big scores, then maybe he could be considered. If he doesn't get runs though, then doesn't matter if Sky is the captain, XYZ is the captain, doesn't matter if Sky needs a person controlling or doesn't need a controlling, he just does not come back. So I think his best chances, if he has a decent IPL from here, in his own style, which you know is changed now. He's not that dasher, then he can be. But in the meanwhile, if assuming this form continues and that's the basis of our discussion, then I think I agree with you guys, the two contenders are Sanju Samson and KL Rahul as we stand today, as things stand right now. And in that, again, who you start with will again depend on what the captain thinks. If the captain needs, one thing is, I agree, if you're looking at top or middle, then you decide. If the top is all heavy, then maybe you need a middle order batter, you go with KL as your first choice. But if the top is weak, which also is looking weak, by the way, maybe you don't go with an Abhishek, maybe you don't go with a Shubman if they don't get form, who knows? Then you would need, and then I think Sanju is the prime candidate then to be that. But if you need a middle order and your top order is packed, then of course you could look at KL. But more than that, it will also be dependent on, does Sky continue with that maverick style of playing? If he does, then I think Sanju Samson without doubt is your best choice. He comes into the team, dare I say, even in the middle order. It's not that Sanju hasn't batted in the middle, even then you could fit him in the middle. If push comes to shove, if you think you've got your first 2 or 3 done, he could even come in at 4 or whatever. He could even take Tilak's place if he doesn't have a great IPL. I'm just saying there's a way you can fit in, but it all depends on the needs of the captain if the team is picked a week later. And I think it'll be a very close shout between a Sanju Samson, KL Rahul. I guess both get picked as things stand right now. Who makes the 11 again depends on your requirement and those batting positions.
I think what multiple number of opening options has done for India is that it has put Sanju Samson's spot in a bit of a bother.
But why can't Sanju be a middle order batter as well? If KL can be,
Sanju Samson can be a middle order batter. But the point is,
remember there was a time where I think when he was trying to find a place in the Indian ODI setup, Rahul Dravid was captain. Rahul had told him that that's the place I want you to play, and that Rahul Dravid is very fond of a Sanju Samson, and Sanju had agreed. He said, fine, if you want me to bat 6-7 also I'll bat. So I guess at the moment, if you say, we can't fit you in because hypothetically your top order is packed, which it is not, by the way, your top order is he'd agree.
No, that's absolutely fine. I remember Sanju Samson, when he played that Zimbabwe T20I series shortly after the T20 World Cup, he even scored a 50 while batting in the middle order. So he can obviously bat. But there is a reason why you had Sanju Samson opening the batting in the last few T20I series that you have played at home and even in the overseas conditions. You are very clear of the spot or the role you want Sanju Samson to play, and he has done it, pretty well. Now, if you are going to pick your T20, T20I squad for the next series that you're going to play, I think it's going to happen in August, if I'm not wrong, versus Bangladesh, then you cannot really completely overhaul the setup here. You cannot immediately push Sanju Samson down the order. He's batting at maybe 4 or 5 or 5 or 6. You're having two different openers, Jaiswal, Abhishek Sharma, or maybe Jaiswal, Shubman Gill, or anyone for that matter. What it has done is that it's a good headache that India have, but I don't think that India are really clear of what they want with their T20I.
So 11. If you say, assuming you say that Sanju not for the middle order, the role was top order, Sanju Samson might say at the moment that if you pick up the international numbers and IPL numbers so far, then I'm doing better than an Abhishek also, for example, or for that matter even Shubman. So why they have this conversation as to, I have to sacrifice, then if you just are looking as an opener, forget I get another skill of being a wicketkeeper, then I'm still one of the 2 best openers that you have. So, I start, you get Yashashvi or whoever else wants to start. I still command a place. It's not that the others have really overshadowed me.
All the situation, when you look at, why did Sanju Samson primarily open? Because some Indian stars were not available. A Yashasvi, a Shubman, okay. They are your openers, but they were not available for majority of the T20 campaign that was
Shubman was dropped.
dropped. In the T20
From
World
there,
Cup, he was
so-
dropped. But he was not considered. Jaiswal wasn't considered. Abhishek, Jaiswal. That would be the two openers, ideally. But Sanju had to open because there was no Jaiswal. Now,
Because he was playing one-day cricket.
he was playing in that sense. Now see, if you push a Sanju Samson down, yet again you are risking with him what you had risked prior to Suryakumar Yadav's arrival as a captain. Just take out Sanju's numbers pre-Suryakumar Yadav and look at Sanju's numbers in Sky's era. There is a huge difference. Because in the old regime, Sanju never got the stability. And now once again, if you are going to threaten him with that, then you are missing out on yet another opportunity then for Sanju Samson.
See, sometimes you have to wait. For example, Yashashvi, he as good as he was in Test match and T20, still hasn't played an ODI.
Yeah.
So, because you went with your two best batters. So, I don't know if Sanju is one of the two best openers that you have, then he may argue that why you even, putting my wicket keeping skills ahead of my batting skill. Okay, judge me as an opener also. Am I any worse than the openers that you're considering? And maybe he'll have a valid point on that as well.
With KL and Sanju, the same thing. Both can open, both can play in the middle order. Both can struggle in the middle order, both can struggle as an opener. You are caught in two options where, okay, the third option in Rishabh Pant is just not firing. Simple. Yes, he may have won you the World T20 with his wicket keeping and his injury skills. But you bought him as a captain. You bought him as a batter who can have that impact.
What do you mean injury skills? Acha, that timeout.
It was a masterstroke. Let's make no
He did
mistake.
it in the IPL also.
Again, yes, he did it in the IPL. Back injury. I think he was having a back.
And the
Massage.
game turned from there.
Exactly. So there is something about Rishabh Pant. Maybe for that you would want to persist with him.
No, you can't do that.
Exactly.
For one injury timeout, how does he supersede two wicketkeeper batters who are doing well?
No, I think, there is a reason why, apart from Sanju Samson, the remaining keeper batters who are the contenders, Pant, Rahul, Jitesh and Jurel, they are batting in the middle order. So maybe the message from the BCCI selectors is clear that if there is any wicketkeeper slot that's open, it's in the middle order.
The biggest mystery.
See, I don't think selectors have given that message. Players themselves may pick it up and do it. But why will the selector tell everyone that, we are only looking for middle order, you bat there? I don't think so. And I also have a feeling, and that's my personal opinion, that most batters are batting based on the requirement of their teams and what's best for their teams. I don't think they can afford this luxury of deciding where to bat based on how that will help them make the Indian team. For a lot of them, winning an IPL game or IPL title is far more important. Let's not forget their price tags are determined by what they're doing. So they can dream of the Indian thing, but they cannot at any point use IPL just as a ladder to make the Indian team and then decide. So let's say if I'm Rishabh Pant, I'm deciding my batting order and my first thought is what position do I bat will help my team win games. That's my first priority. Yes, with that, if I make the Indian team, so be it. Or if I don't, so be it. But right now, my thing is I've gone for 27 crores. I have to get runs and I have to make my team win. Same for KL. He has a point to prove. We showed you yesterday. This is my ground. He's saying, okay, team comes, Indian team, whatever, bat me where I can get runs, boss. Right now, I want to get runs. You've batted him as an opener, middle order. He just wants to get runs. And I'm sure the captain also of his team wants to utilize him in the best way possible for runs. I don't think his captain, who probably would be deciding his batting order, is also too concerned as to which position he bats. Does he get into the Indian team? Probably he doesn't even have a say. The captain says, boss, you're good for me here. Your slot may be empty there for the Indian team. I don't care. You get me runs here.
It's the biggest mystery, two biggest mysteries. One, KL has dispelled this notion that I thought if Delhi Capitals bat him at 4, they are done for. But no, he's proven that notion wrong. So it's a revival for KL Rahul. So you have to pick him on the basis of the momentum. Second, Pant's sample size in T20Is is massive. 80 plus T20Is. Never had an average of 25 plus and not having a strike rate in excess of 140 plus also. Yet he has been persisted for 5-6 years in the format, ironically, where he's not doing well. Now, what is it about Rishabh Pant? Again, what is the same thing that has been continuing in Indian cricket? Mixing up of formats. If he's doing well in one format, he'll do well in this format. That has worked for him. But it hasn't worked for certain individuals. Sanju's got an average of 57 in ODIs. But does he get a long rope? No, he doesn't. Again, requirement, captaincy, regime, requirement, everything changes. BCCI should work like a proper corporate. Advertise for this position. Middle order slot vacant. All guys, please turn up.
I know everyone will turn up. Everyone will raise their hand.
Yeah, but
who will say that okay, no, I'm an opener. I'm not going to bat in the middle. They'll bat.
So?
Sanju will bat. KL will bat. Rishabh will bat. Whoever you tell will bat at whatever position you tell them. So long as they make the Indian.
So their CV is the runs they score in that particular season. Selectors see, okay, you come in the squad, you're selected. Simple. But now it's so many options. I think, see, 1, 2, Jitesh and Dhruv. I think they are way behind. They are not behind.
Yeah, they are.
So
Jitesh has had a decent IPL so far.
On current form, Jitesh and Dhruv are way ahead of Rishabh Pant. That's for
They
sure.
are.
Yeah.
They are.
Correctly. Let's get a few comments in as well on this subject before we dive into to Siddharth's favorite topic, Thala coming back as captain.
Oh, goodness.
Because it's always lovely to hear what our live audience is saying. Okay, Shubham says that some people think that Jitesh does not deserve to play the IPL. Bowlers should be ashamed if they get hit by him. What's your... No.
This question was asked even yesterday also.
I don't know. I have never heard anybody say that. But if you say that people are saying that, that's demeaning a player. Yeah. Jitesh has played for India. I know that he did not really fulfill his potential. But Jitesh had done well in the IPL previous seasons to earn that, call up to the Indian team. And as he's shown in this IPL as well, that he's doing rather well. So that I think is unfair. Unfair comment. I don't know. You guys think it's
very unfair. Firstly, Jitesh has got the caliber. I mean, if
to say that if you are getting hit by Jitesh means you're not a good bowler, I think that
is terrible. I mean, there are international caliber, there are domestic caliber bowlers and batters playing out in a grand league. It's not as if they have come through Sifarish or nepotism or anything. They have come out of sheer weight of runs and wickets that they've taken in their respective careers. So every bowler is equal, every batter is equal. You start on an equal footing on the 22-yard strip. It's not as if where the batter bats, it's absolutely pata, and where the bowler bowls, it's only green grass. It's not like that, no? So it's equal.
The other point that Shubham makes, and I think that's interesting, I'll go to the AJ question a little later, but Shubham, because it's in continuation of what we're talking, he says, but his argument is that you need to don't look at absolute number of Sanju Samsung. He feels that he gets lots of his runs against very average bowlers. But if you look at his record against premier bowlers, and I know he's hinting at short pitch delivery for which he has been out, then he feels that he's not in the same league as some of the other batters we're talking. And he says same applies for Tilak too, that it's usually the Simpala type bowlers, whatever.
Simple type bowlers.
It's a South African bowler.
Luto Simpamla.
Former CSK bowler.
Correct. I know
Luto
that.
Simpamla. Yeah.
So he's saying those kind of bowlers he hammers. Is there any merit in...
See, he does struggle against two types of bowling. Short and leg spin.
Jofra Archer showed that.
Jofra Archer in the England series really had him on a string. And that's why he struggled against him. He hasn't managed to break the leg spin code. He struggles against leg spin big time. Vanindu Asranga. That's why he got him in this RR camp, so that he could escape from the others. So that's why he has to work on that. And
why did he let go of UZ Chahal?
I think Hasaranga was a bigger threat than UZ Chahal to him. Because UZ Chahal, look at one series, I think it was in 2019-20 when Sri Lanka had come to India for the 3 T20Is. Barsapara, I think that hairdryer incident ensured that the game was ruined. But apart from that, Hasaranga would get him out every single time with the googly. So that is why.
Okay. AJ says that Samsung, Abhishek, Jaiswal, Surya, Dubey, KL, Hardik, Akshar, Harshit / Sundar, Kuldeep, Bumrah, Arshdeep. This team can score 200 plus and chase 160, 170 as well. So AJ makes an interesting point that, you can have both KL and Samsung into the 11, and Samsung. Yeah, he's got Samsung in case of Abhishek not firing. Then he's got Samsung and Jaiswal opening, and you've got KL in the middle order. So he's removed, let's say, a Tilak from that conversation.
Rinku Singh also.
He's removed Rinku, and by the way, he's not even put a Shreyas Iyer there.
Yes, a year.
Yeah.
So, but that's just another point of view that you can play. Let's say if you're going with Sanju as a wicketkeeper, and if Abhishek is not firing and he becomes the opener alongside, let's say, a Jaiswal, then you can even have KL as that middle order bat. I don't know. But I think there's a lot of competition there.
Thoughts and
I don't think KL can make just on the basis of batting.
There is one more name that in the opening that we haven't mentioned. That was a big talking point about a couple of days back. Sai Sudarshan. That's also there.
Okay. Go up to that question that we wanted to answer of AJ, where he says that, Siddharth, you have to answer that question. He says he really respects you, but why are you finding loopholes in everything? For you, why there is no grey area? Everything should be perfect or what?
I know where this comment is coming from. We all
What is the...
we all expect that, okay, it should be journalism and everything should be grey, neutral. I'm not finding any negativity or loopholes in everything, okay? Firstly, if a rule is broken, a rule is broken. Clear. I'm kind of an old school in that sense. I'm a stickler for the rules. Okay. There is nothing negative that I do about a person. Okay. Dhoni did not play very quickly against the spinners. I didn't generate it out of AI or anything. I generated it through watching the match and seeing how he struggled against spin. My thing of saying that he's struggling against spin is not a negative comment, it's a fact. He sunk you in both the games. There was no intent. I am not the only one who's saying that he doesn't have intent. Others have. So there is nothing negative, nothing about this in a big way. So AJ, I agree that yes, critical and negativity, it's a very thin line. But I don't go overboard in that sense. I don't whitewash everything just for the sake of it.
Okay, there was another comment there. Just 1 second. Yeah, Sridhar Saivarkar has a comment. He said, should MS have continued as captain of CSK till the time he's playing? He's the best wicketkeeper captain. They'll have to say, why not use it till he's there? Then the next captain can take over. In fact, I was of that same opinion, that if you have him in the team, whether you want him in the team or not is a different debate altogether. But if you have him in the team, then I would have him as a captain. Why not utilize his ability of being such a sharp thinker? But I think the thought process was to get one for the future. Who knows, they may continue. Next season he comes. No.
You have had 2 attempts of future. People are calling it destiny. And I didn't choose captaincy. Captaincy chose me. Okay. There is nothing called a future for CSK. There isn't.
What do you mean by that?
I'll tell you.
I was actually
That's like a
scared
loaded
that
statement.
There is nothing
called future.
It's been established now with this. There was a captaincy option. Yes, he's also not...
2, at least 2.
1. Okay. Practically 1. I don't know what is your obsession with Sam Curran. Because he's never going to start in the CSK lineup. 1. So, guy who doesn't start can't be the captain. Number 1. There was another contender. But he's also not getting any younger. Okay. CSK are like that edifice where you have this one new carving. They'll say, no. Wipe it off. MS Dhoni, when I look at it, it's established. The franchisee is revolving only around him. Only around him. After this, where is a life for Chennai Super Kings? You will not see MS Dhoni. People will not want to see him in the dugout. They'll want to see him on the field. Who is the next face of Chennai Super Kings? One of the legacy brands. There is nobody. And they had a chance in 2022. Transitions are never easy. Just as the Australian team, they underwent a transition from 2009 till 2011. But they only had success in 2012. Chennai would have had 2 to 3 years of pain. But then at least you had built something for the future. Here, short term, I think I'm having some trouble. I'll go back to my old training. I'll get back my captain back. The original captain. So, Dhoni is there.
Abhinav Anand says, Sir, MI was doing way better in 2023 with a very weak bowling lineup and finished third. Should he be on the field and not as impact sub? He wants to know about Rohit Sharma, the captaincy. I think on that front, the reason he's an impact sub is because of the fielding abilities. They're playing the best players. And the reason they made Hardik Pandya the captain, because he's going to be that future captain. There's no point then getting a Rohit Sharma. Hardik then has to either learn or show his ability why he got. And if he cannot and if he's unable to do that, then probably that will let you know what, maybe just as they took a hard decision with a Rohit Sharma, they may take it with a Hardik Pandya as well. But how will you know that till you let him captain? So I guess this is Hardik's test, and let him pass or fail that test on his own ability rather than being spoon-fed. You don't want to extend this by somebody helping him do that, and then after Rohit anyway he will then captain, and then you'll wait for another couple of seasons. So its time is now.
This is why I have to hail that decision in 2024. They are ready for the pain. As I said, transitions will never ever get you success immediately. But for CSK, they have stalled in 2022 because they had a 2023 title. So that justification is there. 24, now 25 also. Where is the transition? There will not be a transition. That's the thing. And the more you delay the transition, the more pain will await you. And CSK are going to find it out the hard way. That's why I said, after MS Dhoni, who? Who in the CSK lineup? At least in Mumbai, you had a Hardik Pandya. Yes, the fickle fan base never agreed to it. That is their problem, their loss. But what about Chennai? That's why I said, what is the future?
I think the only point would be that if under MS now CSK have a resurgence, they maybe qualify for the playoffs, even reach the final also, then it's going to be, all the blame will be put on the guy who has suffered a fractured elbow. That it was because of him.
Like it happened with Jaddu.
4 of the opening 5 games.
Like it happened with Jaddu in 2022.
And that's why, I was not in favor of having MS Dhoni return as the captain of CSK. I think it should have been someone else.
Okay, Pavan Hola has picked his team. Samsung, Abhishek, Tilak, Surya, Hardik, Dubey, Akshar, Kuldeep, Varun, Bumrah, Arshdeep, KL, Sai Sudarshan. Acha, these are all backups. So scored. He's picked both KL and Sanju Samsung. Okay, fair point. AJ says, why do we need to bother about the future now? CSK needs to win the 6th title. It's as simple as that. Yeah, that I also agree with. IPL is not like, who knows, next season again there will be auction, then half the players, you buy a captain, yeah. It's as simple as that. See, if it was, like it happens in a lot of other tournaments where you actually, or like a lot of other sport where you really don't have every season auction or 3-year full auction, everyone, it does not. There you build. Barcelona has a La Masia, they produce player because they think of future.
Yeah.
Those contracts are 10-year-long contracts. You're going to have a player play for that much, and if he decides to leave, you get some crazy amount of money. But here it's
again
5 you can retain, everyone else. Josh Butler, who's done, also has to go back to auction.
That's the problem. See, I wish it was like the La Liga or the Premier where you had fixed contracts for it. I think even the IPL franchise also raised that thing. Why do we need to have auctions every single time?
Then think about future.
But the future is, see, you will win a 6th title. It's not necessary it will happen in 2025. Can happen in 2028, can happen in 2029.
You might never win it. That's also a point.
Never say never with it. But then I have a problem with this philosophy of apna har din aise jiyo jaise ki aakhri ho. Bhai, there is this Damocles sword hanging that you are going to go. But what about the fact that I build a legacy which can give me a title in 2-3 years time? And anyway, under MS Dhoni, you can call them the South Africa Super Kings also. They have won less and lost more in the finals.
That will be with everyone. Okay.
Not with MI.
Let's turn our attention to the preview. Pick your winner today and why. Firstly, it's going to be a action-packed game. Eyeballs will be very high. If you can see the concurrent live viewers, I'm sure it will be very high. Thala Dhoni comes back as captain in his den
in his Anbudan.
The super king will be back. Yes, what do you make of this game before we wind up?
KKR for me. I don't think CSK have enough firepower, or for that matter players in form who can actually match KKR. Even their spin threat also in Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narine. So KKR all the way for me. I don't think CSK can match them. That's as simple as that.
Yes, I know Dhoni is coming back. Yes, I know he can work the charm. Yes, I know CSK can have a miracle, but not in this game. It's +1 even for me. I'm going with KKR because they have the spin bowling lineup to stifle CSK, and I don't think they have the batting personnel. So it's KKR for me at Chepauk.
Any changes you'd like to see?
I think for KKR it's going to be Moeen Ali coming in for Spencer Johnson. Makes sense to have another spinner here. For CSK, I expect Rahul Tripathi to come in for Ruturaj Gaikwad. That's
not a Vansh Bedi.
I think Rahul Tripathi makes sense to have him back at a position where he has flourished the most in the IPL.
New captain, new blood. A young wicketkeeper might back another young wicketkeeper batter in Vansh Bedi. Why not?
If that is the case, that if you need to back someone, Sheikh Rashid has to be the number one option.
Sheikh Rashid.
Ahead of Vansh Bedi.
That's why looking at the backup personnel in the batting,
even if MS Dhoni gets injured at some point, if it happens, I don't think CSK are going to go to Vansh Bedi. You will have Devon Conway being the wicketkeeper.
I mean, on paper, KKR look much stronger than CSK. It's very difficult to look past them. Even in these conditions, they should be favourite to win this, so long as they don't mess up with their batting order and send Ramandeep. Ramandeep is a good batter, I like him, but you can't send him ahead of everybody else. So as long as they sort that out, I think it is fine. I also hope that they make that change because QDK has been given quite a good. I would want Gurbaz to really come in. I think it is time that you bring him. One good inning I think he played in Guwahati, QDK. Other than that, none. So I would want Gurbaz to come in and rest the batting order. They go the conventional way. They're a much stronger team, but for the sake of the IPL, for the sake of being a romantic, Thala comes back, takes his team to a win. What a fairy tale it'll be.
Indeed.
So for that, I'll pick that. Okay, on that note, we come to an end of another Dugout. Thank you so much for giving us company as always. Of course, the toss updates will be there on Sports Today as well as the mid-inning update. But a big show, as always, right after the last ball is bowled. So look forward to your company at that time. For the moment, from the two Siddharths and I, bye-bye.
Join
See
us
you
in
soon.
23 minutes for the toss.
Yeah.